All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we are here at Sonoma. We're going to do something a little different because I want to show how difficult this track is for everybody tonight. So I'm going to say, obviously, hopping right in the middle of qualifying. So right now, this is Henry Bennett. He's making his warm-up lap right here, and so he's heading to the last section of the track before he's going to take his flying lap. But so I'm gonna let you guys go along for a ride here, and let's say we'll kind of talk through the lap here, Steve. But say we want to show, obviously, here's the last turn coming into the earlier hairpin than the NASCAR one, heading into the trial or into the front stretch part of the drag strip, and into turn number 1 and 2. And so I just want to show just the elevation changes, the blind turns this track has, and just how difficult it's going to be for these drivers to manage here. So say Henry figures it's going to be a pretty safe choice. We've seen him qualify up front very frequently in this league. But just want to show the difficulty of what they've got in store for them this evening. It's going to be 40 laps tonight is going to be the race distance. It's going to be, I believe, 2 pit stops will be the strategy here. So this is one of those blind turns right there, entering the carousel here, then getting back onto the drag strip here, down the backstretch into the one of the hairpins here. And that's going to lead into the S's. But so we've been watching practice, Steve, and these drivers are going to be having a very difficult time. I've seen a lot of drivers go off track, getting out into the dirt. So I think the consensus is going to be for tonight's to have a clean race is going to be just got to keep it kind of on the track and keep it clean here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to have to back up the corners, I think, is probably the most important thing, because it's very easy to get in too hard into a lot of these tight corners and just slide off the track. I also noticed a lot of people spinning out, which was kind of surprising because to me the setup feels very neutral and very comfortable. The biggest problem I was having is the track configuration is a little different than anything I've ever run on here before, and I didn't quite have enough time to figure out all the twists and turns.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a very different one than what we're used to. So you can see the track here, and you can kind of see where the rubber and everything is, the tire marks on the track. So you see kind of towards the top right of your screen, the NASCAR portion of the track. Usually they used to run around the top there, bypassing the whole carousel section. Of course, then at the bottom left, you can see the 2 different hairpins that are used, and of course, notably as well as the S's, you can see where the Indy cars kind of shortcut the last section of the S's to have that really sharp chicane there at the very end. So do need to bring up our points going into tonight, though. So Henry Bennett last week's race was able to take over the points lead over Charles Teed. So it's a 32-point difference now between that 007 and the number 5 machine. You got Matt Wagner there third, Eric Shouse fourth, Chad Wilkes in fifth. And then Steve, we have actually a tie for the 8th position right now between Jim Brooks and Benjamin Combs. Again, we're going to be taking the top 8 this evening, or this week, I should say. Not this week, sorry. This season, we'll be taking the top 8 to into that 3-race playoff. So that gap is definitely getting smaller. And you see not too far behind the Anders Arhus, he's right there as well. So he could also see if he can leapfrog those guys to get into that top 8 in the points and be eligible for that playoff.
And Anders Arhus, as I recall, is pretty good on these road courses.
Yes, I think he's going to be one to keep an eye on. I'll say he's going to be with some tough competition. But the other thing to mention is there is going to be one drop week for these drivers, which isn't accounted for here. So basically what that does is it takes your worst race out to be able to kind of show where you are in the standings and kind of give everybody a chance if you miss a race due to circumstances, real life things of that nature work. It gives you an opportunity to still be able to have a chance at making that top 8. So I'll say that's going to be come into play for a lot of these drivers as well, to see where they fall in with that drop week.
So how many more races do these guys have until the playoffs start?
That is a great question, Stephen. Actually, after tonight at Sonoma, there's just one more race at Kentucky, and that is going to set the top 8 field at the conclusion of the Kentucky race. And we got to pull up our starting grid, looks. Sorry. So on pole position, we have a new face in the league, and it looks like they might be a road course ringer here, Steve. That's going to be that number 15 of Gavin Sanders. Henry Bennett's going to qualify in the 2nd position. We went through his lap there. We saw in 3rd, you got Julian Altina, Anders Arhus in 4th. Chad Wilkes is 5th. In 6th, you got Quabi Brooks, Craig Forsyth 7th. David Payton rounds out our top 8. And then 9th through 16th, you've got Jim Brooks, Ivan Pla, and then Matt Wagner, Eric Shouse, first of those who did not take a qualifying time. Dwight Plesh, Robbie Richards, Michael Spell, and Joseph DeSoro is the 16th place driver. And then 17th through 19th, you've got Gary Corley, Benjamin Combs, and Jimmy Dryden. So showing right now, it looks like 19 cars taking the grid for tonight. Just waiting for them all to hop on the field here. As you see the field all staggered out. And so once the pace car gets rolling, actually, I think, Steve, just by the way things are looking here, I don't see the pace car on the track. This could wind up actually being a standing start here, Steve. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that because that could get kind of interesting right off the bat.
Yeah, I hope these guys all realize that.
I'll say we might be wrong. They might just have the pace car up there further, but when I've seen them staggered out like this before, that's usually been a standing start. So yeah, this could get very interesting here. So we'll see what happens here if that is indeed the case or not. We'll be able to tell by the way they jump off the line or not.
There it goes, green.
Yeah, we are green, so it's a standing start here at Sonoma. And as they definitely, I think, caught a few drivers off guard. A couple really were ready for it there. Oh, we got trouble in the back. I saw one spin around. I think that was, unfortunately, the 53 of Quabi Brooks, if I'm not mistaken. I think I just saw one also up towards the front that just went off as well. So you can see the front wing damage to the front of that 53 car. So yeah, so standing start. Oh, it was actually Anders Arhus. He's the one that went off as well after turn number 1 and 2. So yeah, so things kicking off quickly here at Sonoma. So I think that standing start definitely caught a few drivers by surprise there, and probably was not an intentional thing as well. But say these guys are kind of got caught up on that one, and say got pretty dicey pretty quick there.
Yeah, and there's a couple other people I saw run off the track as well. So things are a little shaken up here.
Yeah, so we're going to try to jump around a little bit. We'll run the kind of the chopper cam to get a nice view. It looks like the field's really spread out now as they get up to speed. So you know a few drivers are going to be very upset about the way that initial start went for them. Looks like the 10, it looks like, again, Anders having a bit of a moment. He's back going again, though. You see the front wing damage of that 53 of Quabi Brooks. He's going to have to pit here and get that wing repaired. He's got to be careful to see if he doesn't burn his fast repair right off the bat. As you see, he's just going to move over, let Robbie Richards on by there. So yeah, so right now we're going to complete our first lap. And so it's going to be Gavin Sanders with the lead, a nice margin over Julian Altina. And you look at those paint schemes of those two cars, Steve, the 15 and the 31. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say some teammate action between that 15 and the 31 here tonight. So I think they're looking for a solid finish here between the two of them.
Do we know if these two are friends and teammates?
I say when you see the paint schemes identical like that, I just have to go on a limb and guess that is the case. But no, I'm not sure. Because actually both are relatively new to the league, so I'll say, but maybe we'll get a chance to interview them. We'll have to wait and see there. But right now, right now, pretty close battle between the 17 of Chad Wilkes here, right in front of that 007 of Henry Bennett. So Henry did not have the start he was looking for. Drops from 2nd to 4th there on the initial start. Chad Wilkes up 2 spots from 5th to 3rd. So yeah, so I think again a lot of shuffling around here on the early start. Right now, one of the bigger movers from that initial start was that 75 Ivan Pla. Jumped from 10th to 6th on that opening lap, so great start for him. Same goes for Matt Wagner and Eric Shouse as well. Actually, I think Matt's jumped up a little further here. Matt's up now to the 6th position in that number 11. He's got Eric Shouse right behind him. So these guys running now in 6th and 7th respectively. So gaining a few more spots there under this green flag run. So 11th to 6th for Matt, 12th to 7th for Eric. These two just trying to kind of line. Oh, as I say that, Matt a little too aggressive on the throttle there. Loops it off the exit of turn 2. He's going to have to try to spin it around, get back out on track. But unfortunately going to cost him a handful of spots here. But does get it pointed back in the right direction.
And it doesn't look like he has any damage, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so just probably a little bit, tires probably a little hot. Need to get the dust off them, before it grips up well again. Do have a good fight here, though, right now. This is around the 8th and 9th position. Now, actually, the 7th and 8th positions, I should say. That's going to be David Payton here chasing down Ivan Pla in the 78. And then right behind them, the 65 of Gary Corley. So we got a good little 3-car battle here coming into that, the kind of the backstretch hairpin, if you will, which leads into the S's here. Jump back further forward. Chad Wilkes still trying to hang on to that spot over Henry Bennett. So you can see Henry definitely is charging here, but I'll say again, we don't really know a lot about the first two, Gavin Sanders, Julian Altina. I'll say that again, relatively new to the league, but I'll say we talk about road courses, and a lot of drivers usually point at that 17 and that 007 as the ones to watch at these road course events, and definitely putting it to proof right now. Say running in that third and fourth position, still in a pretty good spot here with the leaders.
And other than Anders Arshus with his little mistake back there, it looks like our road course guys, our road course experts, pretty much risen to the top here.
Yeah, say Anders is right now is trying to regain some spots, trying to work over the 88 Michael Spell. Looks like he might be able to get him here, still side by side. You see Michael had to use a lot of curb. That's going to slow Anders kind of his progress down. He's going to try to regroup and make another run at it. And saying again, still watching some of these battles right now. Craig Forsyth on the 27 car, he's in a nice little pocket, so he's got no pressure around him. We're going to keep an eye on this battle here, though, entering the carousel. And you can see he wants to get around him here, Steve, around the 88, but just has to be cautious doing so. Now he's able to get the throttle down. He's going to complete the pass here, going down that backstretch into the hairpin here. So I'll say I'll move Anders back up now into the 12th position. But I was mentioning Craig Forsyth, though he's just off on his own right here. So we kind of look out far, and he's got plenty of gap. He's about 6 seconds ahead of him, about 6 seconds behind him. He's just in this nice little open pocket right now in that 27 car, where he doesn't have to worry about anybody kind of in front of him or behind him.
Right now, I'm watching this battle between Chad Wilkes and Henry Bennett. It's just can barely fit a piece of paper between the two of them.
Yeah, so we ran with Henry a little earlier. Just hop back on board that number 007 machine. That's like, so I want to watch here also. Remember, we talked about the push to passes. It looks like he has yet to. As I said, he's on it now, Steve. He's on the button. He's going to try to make this push to pass here, try to see if he can dive underneath the 17. Can't quite do it. But saying that's one of those opportunities you got to try to take him when you can. You felt like he had the run. He was going to try to make it happen, but unfortunately just didn't quite have the momentum he needed to complete that pass on the 17 of Chad Wilkes.
It looks like they may. Yeah, I think they're running down Julian Altina, so this could be a 3-car battle any second now.
Yeah, I'd say lap time's definitely really close between them. Right now, the 15 Gavin Sanders, he's kind of in his own zip code right now. Steve, he ran 1:16.2 that last time by. This time he's going to follow it up with a 16.5, whereas it looks like pretty much the rest of the field are all running in the 1:17s right now. So, yeah, I'd say it looks like a bit of a ringer here tonight at Sonoma, but it'll be, I'll say, hopefully he's able to stick out the rest of the season to kind of see how his oval racing experience is as well, compared to some of these guys who kind of have to do a little bit of both throughout the season.
Yeah, I think it would be a safe bet to say that he is certainly a road racing specialist.
Yeah, say there's no doubt about that. So he's built up a nice lead already, over 6 seconds over Julian Altina. Say obviously was really ready for that restart as well, or the initial start, I should say, as well. So he's still jumping around a little bit. Just noticed Matt Wagner. I think he just snuck around. I believe that was David Payton. So say it's going to help Matt recover back up a couple of spots here. We got a nice little battle here right behind, though. You see the 10 Anders Arhus. He was able to get around a few more cars there. He's able to jump around Gary Corley and Jim Brooks, it looks like. So now he's back up into the top 10 again. Say, unfortunately, again, he had a good qualifying run, just an early mistake that's kind of dropped him down the field. But again, early on in the race, so he's got lots of time here to try to recover from it.
And just to give people an idea of how spread out this field is right now, Gavin Sanders has a 7-second lead over Julian Altina in second place. He has about a 1 second lead over Chad Wilkes, and about the same for Henry Bennett. Craig Forsyth is now 17 seconds behind the leader. Eric Shouse is 26 seconds behind. Ivan Pla, 29. Gary Corley, 29. Matt Wagner, 31. I think some of these may have changed a little bit, and I'll have an update when they cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, but you're spot on, though, Steve. I'll say these lap times. Oh, you see, again, Henry tried to make a dive underneath the 17 and Chad Wilkes, but I think it looked like Chad actually played a little bit of defense there, Henry was not able to get that spot again. So, and we were mentioning that it looked like they're starting to catch Julian there. And since they've been fighting, it's been allowed Julian. He's really stretched it out again on those two. So I'm sure right now Henry's going to have to try to figure out what's going to be his best approach to try to find a way. First, see if he can get around the 17 on track. Again, he's on the button here. He's really being aggressive on the button, trying to see if he can make the pass. Dives into the hairpin here, overshoots it a bunch though. So we'll see if Chad can over under him on the exit. He does, but Henry's going to fight back here, entering turn number 1. So they have to be careful with the aggression here, because I say this is a very difficult spot. As they say that they contact with one another. Chad up and over through the almost actually flips over the 007 Henry Bennett. So I say, unfortunately, I don't think that car is going to roll. Chad's going to have to take a tow here. We're going to go back and look at that, Steve, because that was wild. But as I say, Chad obviously by far getting the worst end of that one as he came through. So say we'll watch him again come through here through turn number 1. Saying again, I think that was just the aggression just finally came to a T there. And then unfortunately for Chad, just nothing he can do, just along for the ride at this point. So you see him go through the dirt here, and then he's just going to literally just ramp up the hill here. And then just, let's say, you see the car start to barrel roll. And like I said, actually really just flips up and just about up and over the 007 of Henry Bennett here. Yeah, there goes Henry just underneath his car. And yeah, unfortunately, it's a heavy hit for Chad. Was able to land on his wheels, but had to take a tow there, unfortunately. So not going to be what he was looking for. So we'll jump back alive here. He is in the pits. He's taking a tow. That's going to be a big hit for Chad, though. Say was in a good points position. This could, I don't know if he's missed any races or not, but this could wind up being his drop week. Just based on, we'll see how he recovers once he gets back from his tow. Because again, we're still really early on in this one, only lap number 9 here, so we still got over a quarter of the race to go.
And there are no cautions in this race, so he's not going to be able to use a caution to catch up. This is a terrible handicap.
Yeah, no, this is going to really hurt him. The other thing is, I don't know. I'm trying to think on the fuel side of things, if maybe with him being in the pits now, if he can jump back out, if he can maybe just go on one more stop and not have to take that second stop, that this would kind of count as it. So we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that as well. But right now, we got a pretty good group of cars here, Steve, around just inside, I should say, the top 10. Matt Wagner, he's been able to get around a couple of them. Now he's back up into that 6th position. We got David Payton right there, right behind him. Then you got Anders Arhus there in 8th. Ivan Plaus right behind him in that 9th position. And then I think right behind him I saw Gary Corley. Yeah, so I mean, we got about 5 cars here within just a couple of seconds of one another. So yeah, so pretty good grouping here. And actually, it's just see the 15. Oh, 15 Gavin Sanders. He went off, Steve. He's in the pits. He had to take a tow. So that's going to change the running order dramatically here. Let's see what happened to him. It may have been, I saw some lap traffic ahead of him. I think it may have been related. Let's take a look. Watching the 15 of Gavin Sanders here going through the S's. I see in front of him, there's the 88 of Michael Spell. So you kind of wonder if it's something. Oh yeah, you look there. He's getting a little loose on the entry. I think just misjudging of who's trying to go where to let the leader by. And so unfortunately, it's one of those things where you kind of walk by you try to do the same thing as the guy around you to like, oh no, after you, and then you just wind up hitting each other. I'll say so, nothing malicious, just unfortunately miscommunication between the two of them. But Gavin Sanders getting by far the worst of that one there. Also, again, having to take a tow. As you see the 88 of Michael Spell, also some damage to his machine. It looks like he's going to possibly have to take a tow as well. Looks like he's going to try to limp that thing back to pits, but lots of suspension damage. So that's going to switch things now back over to the 31 of Julian Altina. He's now showing as our race leader. So yeah, it doesn't matter who is right now. And also just now saw the 38, David Payton. He went off in turn number 1 and 2, so he's just got back going again now. Car looks to be damage free. May have just been an off-track excursion for David, but it's going to cost him a couple spots as well. Looks like drops him down to that 9th spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking, if I'm in the top 5 right now, I'm going to drive very conservatively.
Well, and that's exactly it, Steve. You see how many people have been going off and having all these off-track excursions. Do need to mention Chad Wilkes is back out on track. He's showing right now on my screen just 1 lap down in the 17 car. Where'd he go? The 15 Gavin Sanders. He's also on track. Is still on the lead lap though, so he had his incident near the pit entry, so I think the tow is shorter, so he's still on the lead lap. It's a little bit kind of towards the edge of the lead lap, but he's still on the lead lap though. in that 15 machine. I'm sure he's going to be driving with some pretty big aggression here to try to make up some of that lost time in that 15 machine.
No doubt, although he's definitely going to have to tiptoe around the lappers now.
Also noticing Gary Corley. Looks like Gary's going to hit the pits here. This is on lap number 11, so this will be pitting for him with 30 to go. I think he can make it from one more stop from here if he pits basically 15 laps later. So this might be the strategy for Gary here to go ahead and pit this first one a little bit early. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. But with all that stuff going on up front, I mean, what this has done, I mean, Craig Forsyth, he's now up into that 3rd position. We talked about him just kind of being off on his own right now in that 27 machine. And I mean, look at our intervals, Steve, on the ticker on the left-hand side there. Right now it's just a second and a half between Julian and Henry for 1st and 2nd, and then go about 20 seconds back to Craig in 3rd, and then another 20 seconds back to Eric Shouse in 4th. So, I mean, Craig right now is just in a nice little pocket here. Again, really nobody to worry about. So he's going to have some lap traffic here and there, but I mean, that's a great spot for him to be in. However, I was just mentioning that 15 Gavin Sanders, and yeah, he's wasting no time here, Steve. He's already found his way back up into that 8th position. And yeah, I mean, he's running in the 116s, near about a 10th off his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I've kind of been watching him tiptoe his way past the slower cars.
Oh, just saw Gary. Oh no, Gary Corley. I think he just had a moment as well. He's had to take a tow also. So we'll go back and take a look what happened to Gary. It looked like it was in the carousel, Steve. Let's see what happens. This is with cold tires, I think, is what happened to him here as he hits the carousel. Yeah, it just gets in too hot here, Steve, and we'll see him as he goes. He's just going to wash up into the dirt. And unfortunately, once he hit that dirt, there's just nothing he can do, and he's just going to go right into that tire barrier. Damages his right front suspension, so that's where he takes that tow as well in the 65.
Ouch, yeah. I've gone off there.
Also, wait, Julian Altina, leader, is in the pits. Car looks undamaged, so I think this is a scheduled stop for our race leader. I say, again, I think he's going ahead and splitting this race up. I think this is about right for when to make this first pit stop here. So say it's going to bring Julian Altina in. The nice part for Julian is he's going to get out here nice, clean air. No cars around him, so not any pressure for anybody getting into him. And also need to mention, he's on the primary black tires now, Steve, instead of the alternate reds that we've seen most of the field on to start the race.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a lot going on to try to keep up with. So now our race leader is going to be showing as Henry Bennett. So I'll say we'll have to keep an eye on Henry and see if he's going to react to this, or if he's going to maybe try to run this a little longer, see if maybe he can stretch it out a bit. So we'll keep an eye on this the 007. And yeah, here he comes. He sends it into the pit road. I'm going to try to get this pit stop done quickly. As I say, he's kind of can't really see the cars that's hiding behind the pit wall there. But here comes Henry. He's hitting the pit road. So say, depending on how far back things go, this could cycle the 27 of Craig Forsyth, I should say, into the lead here if he decides to stay out one more lap, maybe get a bonus point in that 27 car if he can go far enough. And he is going to come around here one more time, so we'll have to watch to see where he cycles out in relation to the 007 of Henry Bennett.
Let me know when Henry Bennett gets going, because I'm in Julian Altina's car right now.
Yeah, Henry's just leading pits, actually side by side there with the 65 Gary Corley. Gary's going to roll out of it and let him by. And it looks like Henry's going to cycle ahead of Julian Altina through this pit cycle. You can see here comes Julian.
Oh boy, almost ran off the track in turn one.
All right, so we're going to have some different tire strategy too, Steve. Henry stayed with alternate reds. Julian's with the primary blacks. So basically right now, Henry's going to have softer tires that should give him grip faster and longer. However, say the potential, though, of course, is over the long 31 might have more pace staying in that car. And unfortunately, I think I'm seeing a few retirements happening here. I think I just saw the 17 of Chad Wilkes. I believe he just retired. And then I think David Payton, I'll say David Payton hitting the pits here. I say for a second it showed he disappeared there, but yeah, it's just his pit entry. So unfortunately, it looks like the 17 not going to plan for him. So unfortunately, it looks like going to be a retirement for that 17 car tonight. All right, so Craig is going to stay out here, Steve, one more time. So this will give Craig a lap lead. So that's going to be a bonus point for that 27 car. Going to be critical for his chances here with the point standings. Of course, every point's going to matter. So Say Craig stays out, he leads a lap in that 27 machine. And say right now, still a lot of drivers left to make pit stops, Steve. The 27 yet to pit, the 72, the 11, and the 10 have all yet to make pit stops. And actually, got to mention Anders. With everything he's gone through, he's gotten pretty close. As I say, that commentator's curse gets loose at the hairpin. He's able to catch it quickly and recover, but I was going to say he was actually catching the 11 of Matt Wagner's. I believe Matt Wagner's hitting pit road now, and it looks like Andre's going to go one more lap in that 10 machine. And the 15, though, of Gavin Sanders, he just grabs that spot, so he's going to be back up now into the top 5 after having to take that tow.
And I'll tell you, Julian Altina on his 1 lap older, harder compound tires is doing a really nice job of hanging with Henry Bennett. I'm curious what's going to happen on the long haul, because the harder compound is supposed to give you better lap times as you go, or compared to the softer compound tires.
Yeah, exactly right. Softer compound are going to kind of fall off first. As you saw both the leaders getting around the 88 of Michael Spell there. I'm going to compare the lap times here. Say they were in a little bit of traffic, but Julian Altino was a second and a half quicker than Henry Bennett that last time around, so that gap is shrinking, Steve. Again, traffic could have played a small role in it potentially. But yeah, and also do need to mention the 27, Craig Forsyth. He is in the pits as well. He's going to get his first stop done here. And I see, oh, actually, a 31 is off, Steve. He's trying to get back on track.
Yep.
He's got to be careful not to get stuck there, but he's going to get back going, so it's going to cost him a bunch of time here, unfortunately. Does get back going. Looks like no damage, but I think just unfortunately overshot that turn a little bit there, it's a really easy one to overshoot as well.
Yeah, it actually started the turn before that. He went in too hot, got off into the dirt on the outside of the track. Did a really nice job of not spinning and recovering, and looked like he was going to make it into that right-hander okay, but I think, when he got on it with his tires still in the dirt, it just spun him out.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And also noticing he's working on the 88 Michael Spell, trying to again gain some of that track position he just lost there from that little slide. As unfortunately, looks like Michael Spell actually just loops it on the entry there. So when you lose your braking point, just completely messes everything up. I was going to mention, though, I see Matt Wagner. He was in the pits, and now I don't see his car at all. So I think we may have another retirement, Steve, unfortunately. Also see, Jim Brooks, Ivan Plow. Look at these two cars in the pits. Jim's missing his front clip there. Ivan missing his left front suspension. So, again, some serious damage to some cars. So give me a moment. I don't know if these are all related or not. We're going to try to see if we can find what happened to these guys here. But it looks like a lot of tows being taken from that incident.
Okay, and while you do that, I'm watching Julian Altina still, and he very nearly ran off the track in turn 1. He got in there so hot that he had to slam on the brakes and throw the car sideways, and very nearly lost control.
Yeah, just how Jim Brooks got his damage. Now the question is, was Matt Wagner? No, Matt Wagner's was unrelated there, and the other one was the 75. Just all three cars just going off, actually, just all at the same time. Looks like all unrelated, but a lot of cars going off track and having incidents there. So I'll say we'll jump back live here again. Say the tow still going for the 75 and the 76 machines. I'll say we do need to mention Henry Bennett is working over so you see, actually, as I said, at Quabi Brooks, he moves right over for Henry. He's going to let him go again. We mentioned Quabi unfortunately went off pretty much right at the start. I think maybe spun his tires on that standing start. And so, yeah, so say it's cost him some spots. Jim Brooks back out on track, though, after that tow. I also see the 75 Ivan Plow. He's starting to move again as well. And, again, got to mention that 15 of Gavin Sanders, everything going on. He's found his way back up into that third position. The question mark is going to be, Steve, can he make it on one more stop or not? He's on lap 8 of this run. So it could be a potential where he could still be able to somehow be in this mix if he can keep doing the lap times he's doing right now. Again, he's in the 116s, whereas the rest of the field looks to be in about the 118s, 119s. But I said we were talking about Matt Wagner, and we were talking to him pre-race, Steve, you and I, and he'd mentioned he thinks this was probably the hardest race that they're going to have this season. And I mean, it's definitely showing that right now.
Yeah, definitely. I still think that for me, Road Atlanta was the most difficult track, but I can see why, with the braking points and the tight turns and people overdriving them and going off into the dirt, I could see why this is such a challenge for everyone.
Yeah, so I'll say, well, hopefully a little bit of a lull here. So I'll say we'll do a quick through the field here to show where everybody is. So right now our race leader is that 007 of Henry Bennett. I say he's hitting turn number 1 and 2 to start lap number 19. So 22 to go here for him. Second place, we saw Julian Altini. He went off a little bit, so he's lost a lot of time, down to now about 13 seconds from about a second and a half when he had that spin, unfortunately. But say still in contention. As I say that again, the commentator's curse too aggressive on the exit. Does a nice little 360 though, Steve. He's going to grab a gear and keep going here. I say he's gonna have to be real careful about the throttle now, because those tires are going to be very upset when you do big spins like that. It's just going to make that car feel like it's on ice for a little bit here.
Yep, definitely. And now he's probably going to have to worry about Gavin Sanders catching up to him.
Yeah, saying right behind him there is the 15 of Gavin Sanders. I say not that far away anymore. So it looks like the gap between the two of them about 12 seconds. And again, we talked about the pace though that 15 has been having. I mean, he is just, when he didn't, other than that incident, I mean, he's been just throwing on some brutal lap times. So the question mark for him is going to be if he can make it on just the one more stop or not. And I think he can do it. It's going to be a little bit tight. Might have to stretch his fuel number just a little bit. But I think he might still have a chance to do it. So right now, Gavin Sanders there hanging on in third. Craig Forsyth, he is in that fourth position still. Say again, he's been kind of off on his own for the most part here. He's got some cars behind him. I believe they're on a separate lap, however. And then rounding out our top 5, our last car in the lead lap is that 72 of Eric Shouse. Right now, Eric is our highest climber, Steve. He's gone from 12th to 5th in that 72 car, which I'll say again, I think really just keeping this car clean all throughout the race is going to be the key for tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll go ahead. Sorry.
I'm thinking about, David Payton. He's just kind of, I guess, doing the same thing as Eric Shouse. He's just kind of taking it easy, trying to keep it clean and not make any mistakes. And it's got to be kind of funny to be in his spot, because he keeps getting passed by the same cars that they pass him, they make a mistake, and then they're behind him again. And it's got to be kind of funny from his point of view.
Probably a little bit of both. Probably that, and also still a little bit of frustration. It's like, man, I want to keep these positions, but yeah, you're not wrong there. Let's say so. Actually, in front of David though, in the 6th position, Anders Arhus started 4th, is currently running in the 6th position as we just crossed the halfway point in this one. Right now, Anders the first car 1 lap down. Again, there are no cautions, so let's say it won't be any lucky dogs, anything like that. But say Anders has recovered really well from having some moments earlier on in the race. Then, like you said, though, David Payton sitting in that 7th position, just the 1 lap down as well. And then, I mean, Quabi Brooks, he's recovered nicely as well, Steve, from that turn 1 lap 1 incident. Had to pit early to get the wing replaced, but he's been able to get back up into that top 8 position in that 53 machine. And then we saw Jim Brooks had to take the tow. He's right now 2 laps down in the 76 car, in the top 10, though, in 9th. And then he's got a few cars in the same position, though, 2 laps down with him. So right now he's going to try to hold off Ivan Plot in that 76 car, who is in the 10th spot. Gary Corley also 2 down in 11th. And then the 88 of Michael Spell in the 12th position, also just 2 laps down as they run right here.
I wonder if Julian Altina is maybe thinking that getting the harder compound tires was a bad idea.
That's a good question. Oh, Jim Brooks actually just caught the end of it. He's had a big moment at the carousel as well. If that car is not able to continue on, that could be the end of his race, because he's already taken a tow and a fast repair. And catching up to the what we just saw there, Steve, I'm going to go out on a limb and say his night is done. So we'll watch him as he enters the carousel here, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about as he comes up and over the hill. And saying it's so easy. You overshoot the turn, and you can see from there, you're just along for the ride. Nothing you can do, and just drills the tire barrier, and that car just goes up and over. As it does line on its wheels again, but there's definitely no bringing that car back from the pits. So yeah, unfortunately, I think that's going to be the evening for Jim Brooks, as that car just still somehow bouncing around like a pinball there. So yeah, unfortunate for Jim. That's going to cost him some time. It's going to hurt him in the points as well, because he was one of those guys right on the edge of that top 8 battle here. So we'll jump back over to Henry Bennett, our race leader. And that second position, Steve, it's closing up here. Gavin Sanders, you're talking about that. Maybe that the what do you call it? The black sidewall tires may not have been the right choice for him. Because right now, I mean, we know how fast Gavin Sanders has been, but I mean, he's right now been closing about 2 seconds a lap on that 31 car.
Yeah, that's huge. And unfortunately, Julian Altina in the 31 made those couple mistakes that cost him, let's see, well, he was right with Henry Bennett, maybe a second behind him, and now he's 23 seconds behind him. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're going to hop on board. I want to take a lap with Gavin Sanders because, I mean, this guy is just sending it, man. There's just no other way of wording this. This guy appears to be a machine on these road courses. So, we'll take a lap at that 15 car. So, we went that qualifying lap with Henry Bennett, but I'll say we're going to see what Gavin can do here. Say last time by, looks like a 1:17.1, so still quicker than Julian Altina. Again, still about that 6-second gap between the two of them, but right now, I say Gavin doing everything he can to close that gap down. Again, just the elevation changes that these drivers have to go through is just wild.
After this from his in-car. And it just looks like, I mean, he's got this place totally figured out.
Yeah, so it looks like he's just going along for a Sunday afternoon drive here where, I mean, you know he's running it really tough. I mean, look at this, Steve. He's using the push to pass through the S's here. Something I never thought I would have seen here. I say the problem I think with Sonoma is you just don't have a long enough straightaway to really use. You don't have a long straight to really take advantage of that push to pass that like you would like to. So that's also kind of a tricky question of when do you choose to make that push to pass happen. We saw him do it through the S's there. We've seen a few other drivers do it in different locations as well. I thought right there coming out of the hairpin, that would have been the place to do it. As right there, he runs a 1:16.3, just a tenth of a second off his fastest lap of the race.
Impressive. He's making it look so easy.
He really does. I'm saying I think he knew we were watching us, so he's like, all right, I'm going to put on a nice lap for these guys. But I mean, look at the gap. He can actually see that 31. I said we were riding on board with him. So we'll switch over to Julian Altina in that 31 car. You see him coming off the carousel there, and there's his teammate there, that 15 Gavin Sanders right behind him. Now down to about a 2-second gap between the two of them. Yeah, so you can see that gap again, just slowly creeping down. Henry Bennett, he's got a nice little comfortable margin though. Again, got about 20, looks like about 28 seconds or so on Julian Altina. He's on lap number 12 of his run. We got 16 to go here. Didn't he mention Gavin? He's on lap 15 of his run, so I'll see if he comes in this time or not. Yep, here he comes, Steve. I think this will put him right in the window because this is lap 15 coming to lap 16 in that number 15 machine. And so I think this might put him right at the edge of that window to make it to the end on fuel here.
If so, I'd say he's got a pretty good shot at top 3.
Yeah, so I think definitely podium without anything happening to him the rest of the way here. I think podium definitely is a realistic chance for him. Probably even second place, honestly. So, yeah, I'll be very curious to see how that goes. Wondering if anybody else is going to react to this. I think everybody's kind of on their own pit strategies at the moment, though. So right now, say Craig Forsyth, he's going to jump around him for the time being here as the 15 just now comes out of the pits. You see, there goes the 53, Quabi Brooks. He goes by. This is a really tough place to exit the pits because it's kind of where drivers want to run on track, and he's going to stay with the alternate reds here, Steve. So again, it looks like those reds are the tire he likes to have there. You saw Quabi let him right back on by there to kind of help any time loss prevention, but he's going to come back out right behind Craig Forsyth. Again, Craig still has to make his final stop of the race. However, Craig, he can go probably about 5-6 more laps in that 27 car should he choose to.
And Julian Altina just went into the pits.
Yep, I was about to say, it looks like I think he's reacting to this, where he doesn't want to get what's it called? We're undercut by that 15 car, so he's going to try to react to this pit stop. So we'll see if Julian's able to get his in-lap, out-lap quick enough to be able to stay in front of that number 15 car. But yes, I mean, we've seen the pace though from Gavin. I think it's going to be tough for Julian to hang on to this one.
I think so too. I bet you he takes the red tires. Let's see.
That's a great question. Yeah, does he switch from the blacks to the reds or not during the pit stop cycle? And you are spot on, Steve. Switches to the alternate reds, waiting for the pit crew to finish. He drops and is down. And I think he is going to have a good in-lap there. It looks like he's going to hang on to that second position here.
Wow. Well, this will be a good battle for second place.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fight for this one. I say, you see the 15 Gavin Sanders. He has caught the 27 of Craig Forsyth. So again, Craig still has to make a pit stop. So I mean, if you're Gavin, you don't want to fight him too hard. You know he's going to have to pit. But at the same time, you also, I'm sure, don't want to be losing too much time as well if you feel like you've got the pace over that 27 car. So again, kind of that risk versus reward. How hard do you drive these turns to make these passes happen? So we'll keep an eye. See if I think he's too far away here to make a push to pass at this point. He does not use it. And again, he also can't probably use too much of that push to pass either, just due to the fact that he's going to probably still be a little bit tighter on fuel than the rest of the guys.
It's so tricky figuring out how to pass somebody on this course.
Oh, I see a car off. Don't tell me that was Julian Altina. It was, Steve. He's got some heavy damage to that 31 machine. He's going to try to limp this thing back to the pits. But I think maybe just a little too aggressive on the... oh, and he actually hits the tire wall there as well. I think he's trying to still find a way to get back to the pits. But let's see what happens to him here as he still tries to limp it to the pits.
And Craig Forsyth just went into the pits for his final stop.
We'll hop on board actually here with Julian for this, where he goes up. Oh, he just catches the curb, Steve, and just throws the car immediately left, and he tries to catch it, but nothing he can do, and just heavy contact with that tire barrier through the S's. And like I said, unfortunately, he's going to have to try to limp this thing back to the pits, and he's just about got into the pit entry, but this could be something that's going to potentially elevate Craig Forsyth into that podium position now.
The good thing is that Julian didn't have to take a tow. Well, you're right. I'm looking at that now. That curb just totally hooked him.
Yeah, as soon as he touched that curb, it just threw the car. I'm saying, I know these cars are pretty sensitive about curbs and things of that nature, but that was just a vicious grab that it did there, unfortunately. So just Julian in the wrong place there, just caught him out, unfortunately. So like I mentioned, so like you said, Craig Forsyth, he's went ahead and pitted, so that's actually going to cycle through the 72 of Eric Shouse to the third position for the moment. Eric yet to make his final pit stop. Same thing goes for the 10 of Anders Arhus. However, those incidents do elevate them a position. And you see Craig able to get out of the pits right in front of that number 10 car, but you can see Craig with those cold tires, I think he's definitely taking no risks right now. He knows that Anders is going to have to pit here in a few more laps, so no sense of fighting him hard for that position. As say, there goes Gavin Sanders. You see on the top right of your screen there, fastest lap of the race, a 1:16.1. As now our race leader Henry Bennett, he hits the pit road for his last stop of the race.
I'm curious to see what the separation will be between those two once Henry Bennett comes back out.
Yes, I think it'll be, well, I'm not even going to guess. I feel like it's going to be under 30 seconds for sure, but I just don't know exactly where they were prior to the pit stop cycle. So I say, let's see what Henry does here. Looks like he's staying with the alternate reds, and he is down and away. And he's going to, again, come out in nice, clean traffic. So that's exactly what Henry needs to have happen here. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big gap. You see Julian here, or sorry, Gavin, he's still going through the S's here. Actually now right behind his teammate in that number 31 of Julian Altina. Julian now down a lap because of that incident. But Julian's still in the 7th position after all is said and done here. So we got to let the ticker update, obviously. But yeah, right now it's still the 007 Henry Bennett. He's going to hang on to the lead here after that pit stop cycle. Second place is going to be that 15 car. And then right now still sitting in third is the 72 Eric Shouse. He's yet to make his final stop. Same goes for that number 10 of Anders Arhus. The question for those two will be, is there a chance that they might be able to make their pit stops here and maybe cycle out in front of the 31 Julian Altina? And of course the other question is, how aggressive does Gavin Sanders, how aggressive are they going to be here with one another? Julian try to avoid going 2 laps down, and then also for Gavin to try to make sure he can try to chase down that leader Henry Bennett if at all possible.
And Eric Shouse he just pulled into the pits for his final stop.
Yep, you're right. Here comes Eric. He's making his final stop of the race, coming with 12 to go. I believe 11 to go actually now as the leader, Henry Bennett. He's going to sneak on around him here.
Okay, so I'm showing now that everything's updated. 47 seconds behind is where Gavin Sanders is in second place.
I think it's actually around the 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe I haven't completely updated yet.
I think the 15 still has to finish his lap here. Looks like David Payton, he's making his final stop of the race. Showing Anders Arhus right now. Anders showing as that third position again. Anders still has to make his final stop of the race as well. He can go probably another lap or two more in that 10 should he choose to. Let's say he's going to be, I think, again, I want to say it's going to be, kind of the battle is going to be between himself and Eric Shouse, I want to say, for that fourth position. We'll have to see again. We'll have to see where Julian Altina kind of cycles through in all of this as well. However, you look up front here, though, say Gavin Sanders still has not been able to get around 31. Now he does. You see Julian, he goes ahead and gives him room before the carousel there. Let that 15 car by. I think, again, trying to see if he can find a way to close that gap as much as possible.
And Anders Arhus is going into the pits. Where will he come out?
Yeah, that's gonna be the question here. I mean, so you see Craig Forsyth, he just goes around, so that's gonna promote Craig back up into that third position in the 27 machine. The one I want to watch are going to be those two cars. It's going to be the 72 of Eric Shouse and then the 31 of Julian Altina. I think Anders is going to come out right around the two of them. I'm not sure if in front or behind, but I think that's going to be right now the closest battle for position on track here between those three cars.
Eric Shouse is just coming down the front straight.
Yeah, it looks like he's just passing Anders right now. You'll see him out the corner. Yep, there goes Eric. And then here goes the 10, and then I think we're going to see Julian Altina come out of the pits right there. There he goes. So he's going to come out right behind that 31 of Julian Altina. So right now, Anders does have a really good chance of still trying to grab a top 5 position here tonight. And then a little further back, Quabi Brooks, David Payton, they're having a nice little battle here. Actually, as I said, Quabi still yet to make his final pit stop, so he's going to have to make one more stop in that 53. We mentioned about him having to pit pretty much on that first lap with that wing damage he had. So say it's going to move David Payton. He's going to go back up into that 7th position around the 53 car. And so, yes, and those two right now are the last cars on the lead lap at the moment.
Are they on the lead lap? Uh-oh, Quabi just... Oh, it's nice.
Oh, yep. It looks like the car, I see all the wings around, so I think just looped it over the hill there. And so it looks like safely going to get back on track, but he's got to be careful here, Steve, because say we look on the back in the gearbox, you're going to see the 27 Craig Forsyth. He's on his way, and then also here comes that 007 to Henry Bennett. So right now, Henry trying to put Craig down a lap, which would leave us with just the one car... just the two cars of himself and Gavin Sanders on the lead lap. And you see, Craig not going to fight the issue here. He's going to let that 007 on by. And so I think right now, again, that goal for that 27 car is just to keep this thing clean to the rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely. And you were right. The gap was more like 30 seconds. It's down to 26 now.
Oh, and Julian Altina, he loops it, Steve. That's going to give a couple of positions away. That's going to allow Anders Arhus, he's going to now be able to promote himself up into that top 5. We just talked about the potential for that, and so he's able to do so. So you can see Julian's back going again. No damage to the car, just went off track. Same place he went off a little earlier. Quabi Brooks, he does hit the pit, Steve, after that little slide. So I think he probably thought those tires are about done, so might as well get them off of the car now. And so, yeah, so Julian Altina, he's going to drop to the 6th position. Again, promotes Anders Arhus up into the 5th spot. And then Eric Shouse, to say he's got his hands full just behind him with that 15 of Gavin Sanders right now. So again, Gavin trying to see if he can find a way to chase down that leader of Henry Bennett. But short of a mistake by Henry, I think this one's going to be looking pretty good. But yeah, he's still got a lot of traffic to deal with. You see he's coming up on the 88 of Michael Spell. And saying again, everybody's got different braking zones. And saying unfortunately, there's times where you try to do something nice, but you wind up kind of going the same way as the other person, as we saw with that 15 and the 88 earlier in the race. But we saw Henry able to get through there cleanly.
And other than a mistake, there's no way that Gavin's going to run down Henry Bennett. We've got 8 laps left and 25-second gap. You're talking he'd have to be like over 3 seconds a lap faster than Henry Bennett, and that's just not happening.
I'll say Gavin says challenge accepted. Steve, he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna give anything right now. I mean, he was about a second quicker the last time by. Like I said, he's gonna need a lot more. But I mean, he's still running in the low 116s in that 15 car. I mean, he is definitely just wheeling it, trying to chase everything he can to back down. But I mean, we know Henry. We've seen him race plenty this season. So he's pretty cool under pressure and able to minimize mistakes once he's in this kind of a position.
Eric Shouse just spun in the chicane but didn't hit anything. He's back going again.
Well, that's actually a big deal here because I believe this is a position here. Anders Arhu's trying to get to the inside. Yeah, that's the battle for fourth. And Anders going to sneak away with it for the moment here. Tire difference between the two of these drivers is actually just a one lap difference between that 10 and the 72. So this is a battle for fourth here. As you see, Eric does not want to give it up there, but Eric gets a little loose there on the exit, able to gather back up, so move Anders for the moment up into that fourth position. Again, great recovery drive for that 10 car after some of those earlier incidents at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
And actually, they can't fight around too much here, Steve, because, I mean, right behind him, we'll hop on board again with that 31, Julian Altina. He sees both these guys. So right now, you've got fourth, fifth, and sixth here, all within about maybe 2 seconds of one another here. I mean, they're lapped down, but I mean, again, these are really good positions. This is a fight. These are fights for the top 5 here.
Yep. So this would be our best battle on the track.
Yeah, I just see the 38 David Payton. I think he's gone off at the hairpin. He's back going again, though. And I don't think it hurt him too much here. I'm trying to see if he lost any positions from it or not. And I think he's still exactly where he was, so just a little bit of track position time, maybe some angry tires. And, Quabi Brooks, a big off, Steve. That car is, I think, unless he's going to try to limp it back here. Let's go. We'll keep an eye on him and see if he's able to get it back going. It looks like it's in the S's. I'm wondering if he may have hit the curb just wrong as well in the 53 car. Take a look here as he comes through the S's. Slow things down. Oh, yeah, you see I caught the inside curb and immediately just throws the car. Very similar to what we saw to Julian Altina. So I believe most likely had to take a tow there. Don't know if he had any faster pairs left or not, but if not, say unfortunate, that may be the evening for that 53 as well. So unfortunate, but I say again, just this track, it's a tough one. I say it has no mercy if you hit these turns wrong.
Eric Shouse just overshot turn 1 a teeny bit, had a big wiggle, and that allowed Julian Altina to get past him. So now Julian's going to try and run down Anders Arhus. And as fast as Julian has been, I think he's going to be able to do it.
It's definitely possible, but we're talking about maybe Henry Bennett just taking it easy and not risking anything. His last lap, his fastest lap of the race, only 100th off of the 116.104 by Gavin Sanders to his 116.118. So, say Henry Bennett kind of showing that he's like, yeah, I'm not just cruising here. I'm still going after it there. So, Henry putting down some big lap times in that 007 car still.
And one thing we know about Henry, he does not make many mistakes.
So I've been doing my own share of commentators' curses, Steve. So you be careful there. So Hop looking out the back of Anders who says he, again, like you mentioned, Julian Altina trying to chase him down. We got 5 to go here at Sonoma. Say Craig Forsyth still holding on to that 3rd position. He's got a pretty good buffer over those guys behind him. So yeah, he's just got to try to keep this thing on track, and he should have a pretty good night going for him. But yeah, I mean, this battle right now with Julian Altina, so he is definitely closing the gap. So right now it's just going to be all about minimizing your mistakes if you're that chasing car or if you're that leading car as well. Just to try to basically remove the opportunities for them to try to get after you, as we, like you mentioned, Eric Shouse unfortunately overshooting that turn just a little bit.
And I would say between the two of these guys, Anders Arhus he's not quite as fast, but I think he's made less mistakes. I think he just had that one mistake early on.
Yeah, I think he just had that early one, you're right. So now the question is, they got to get through traffic here. As you see, Julian sends it into that hairpin here. So now Anders, again, you can see Julian actually able to get on the throttle a little quicker than Anders there. The problem for Anders is he's got to try to find a way to get around. I believe that's David Payton in front of him here. I think he's just going to get it done there. Yeah, you see David lets him go there. Again, just the respect, camaraderie between one another is just great to see as these guys fighting for that 4th, 5th position here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so here's another thought. Julian Altina has made quite a few mistakes, And I'm thinking that he's made so many mistakes that he already knows like all the places that he can't make a mistake anymore.
That's possible, but I'll say I'm going to play devil's advocate. I've made plenty of mistakes before at certain places on the track, and I find a way of just doing it again. And say it's just one of those things where the definition of insanity, say doing the same thing, expecting different results, and say I seem to have that ability very well for myself. But it's just, yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough because let's say this is where if you're Julian, you're probably pushing a little harder than you have been, just because you see that guy. It's kind of that rabbit that's in front of you. You want to get that rabbit. You want to chase him down. But I say that's where some of these mistakes happen. But at the same time, too, on the other foot, if you're that 10 car of Anders Arhus, you're watching your mirror now. You see that 31 car. You're watching. Okay, is he going to send it in on me? Is he going to try to like dive under me? And saying that opens you up to making mistakes as well for your braking points or getting back on the throttle too quickly. So it's just a really big cat and mouse game with those guys. And right now, both of them doing a really stellar job. Say again, hopefully no commentator's curse. I hope they both are able to have a clean fight to the end. But there's Anders has a little bobble there, Steve. This could open the door for Julian here, but right now Anders is going to hang on to it.
And that was almost the exact same mistake that Eric Shouse did that lost him the spot to Julian Altina.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the 10 car Anders Arhus. He looks loose, Steve. I think the fuel is wearing off that car. I think it's just getting a little bit too light for him. And you see Julian Altini is going to try to work the outside here. It looks like he will get the pass done. But now the shoe's on the other foot here. Now the 31 car can't make any mistakes here, or else that 10 car is going to be able to pounce right back after him.
Yep.
See, up front, I say Henry Bennett, he's still out there. He's got 2 to go here, Steve. I'll say he's got nice, clean track all around him, so he's exactly in the spot that he'd like to be here. Coming towards the end of this race, say second place, the 15 of Gavin Sanders. He is holding pretty strong here. I think he's had to work through some traffic a little bit. That's cost him a little bit of lap time. You see he's down to about 33 seconds. May have had an off at some point or another, but again, I mean, he's had an outstanding race. I say, if not, I think for that little bit of unfortunate incident where he had to take a tow, he'd probably be right in contention for this one as well for that win, because we saw just the outright pace he's had all evening long. Then I mean, again, Craig Forsyth. I mean, he's just. I think we've had kind of a tale of 3 different races. I mean, we've seen Gavin. He had to take a tow. He had to then kind of get back and recover. Henry Bennett. He had the incident with the 17 of Chad Wilkes. Luckily for Henry, he didn't get the worst of it by any means, obviously. And then Craig Forsyth. I mean, I feel like he's just kind of almost from the beginning of the race. He's just kind of been in this little pocket of track, but he's made the most of it, just minimizing mistakes. And as I say that, Henry Bennett, he's going to take the white here. So Henry Bennett on his final lap at Sonoma.
And for what it's worth, Eric Shouse is just about run down Anders Arhus. This could be a decent battle for what spot are they in?
This is this battle for a top 5 right now. Anders and Eric are now 5th and 6th. And saying again, Julian Altina isn't that far away from him. So I was saying these guys are about to come down to the final turn here to get their white flag. So let's say Henry Bennett, he's got about half the track to go, so he's going to hit the oh man, look at Gavin Sanders just ran a 1:15.79, Steve. That was about 0.4 of a second quicker than the previous fastest lap. I think that's him showing, if that didn't happen, this is what I'd be doing right now. But unfortunately, he did get caught up in that incident. Henry Bennett, he's going to get through the hairpin, or the little chicane here, head into the hairpin for the final time. And we'll see. Oh yeah, I think I saw what you were just looking at there too, Steve. But Henry Bennett, he's going to take the win here at Sonoma. And unfortunately, I do see, like you're kind of, I could hear you, Steve, and yeah, I'm looking at the ticker here, and I see the 31, the 10, and the 72 are very spread out now. So unfortunately, I think Eric may have had a moment there.
Yes, he did. It was, speaking about your definition of insanity, he did the same thing in turn 1 and looped it. He had gotten right up to the back of Anders Arhus, and it was really going to be a good battle.
So here comes Gavin Sanders. He comes out of the hairpin. He's going to grab that second position tonight. Right in front of him, I'll say, did he mention Craig Forsyth? He's going to grab third. I'll say he's just ahead of him there on track. So that's going to be our second and third place finishers tonight. Looks like Julian Altina coming through the hairpin now. And it looks like he's going to recover, Steve. He'll be able to get back up into that 4th position. And Anders Arhus, he's going to, again, had those early issues. He's going to bounce back to grab a top 5 tonight. And then in that 76 car, Eric Shouse, he's going to grab the 6th position tonight. Looks like David Payton will finish in 7th, Quabi Brooks in 8th, and you got Michael Spell 9th, Ivan Plaw 10th, and then Gary Corley rounds out our finishers in 11th.
All right, definitely a shout out to Gary Corley for hanging in there.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the points battle. I mean, this could still be something that winds up being makes a points difference for him. As say, if this was maybe he had a race worse than this, I mean, that's still an 11th place finish. And let's say some of the ovals, you'll get some bigger crowds. So even if you don't have a good night, that could still be points over what someone else was able to have.
When you say that the battle for the last spot was between him and Jim Brooks and Julian Altina?
No, I don't believe Julian is, but we'll look at the points. We'll definitely look at the points as we watch Gavin there. He's going to shortcut the little chicane there. So I'll say we got to find some people to talk to, Steve, and we're going to start off with our 3rd place finisher. That's going to be that 27 of Craig Forsyth. So we're going to pull him up here in just a moment. There's Craig. Let's go ahead and pull him on over here. So let's grab that 27 car of Craig Forsyth. I'm not sure if this is your first race since having your feet and toes back again. But I mean, a very difficult one, obviously, tonight for all the drivers. But it seemed like you were just kind of in your own little area code all night long. To say the top couple of guys, they just took off, and you had a nice gap between yourself and them, and then the guys behind you as well. It seemed like most of the race you had about like a 5-10 second buffer to all the cars around you. Did it feel like a lonely race for you tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was practice. Are we having the race soon?
I don't know if you want to have the race soon. I say you're 3rd place, man. That's a good result for you. And I say obviously the first thing that we noticed was Steve and I were watching. Is like, wait a second, that pace car's in the pits, and you guys are all staggered on the front stretch. This might be a standing start. Were you ready for that, or did that one catch you by surprise too?
No, Jim called it out. He noticed it immediately. So and I warned all the guys that be careful on your clutch, because losing a position being slowly is okay. Spinning yourself backwards is a lot more positions. So hopefully everyone made it out of there good. I mean, everyone in front of me did great. No, I knew. I mean, right from qualifying, right from practice, this isn't one of my better road tracks. I'm decent at it, but I'm not an alien like the top 5 guys up were. So I knew that I just basically had to, drive safe, stay in the middle, and a beautiful gap opened up, which was awesome for me. And from then on, it was just hoping that the fast guys started battling with each other, and I could take advantage of any mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely did that. There was a few mistakes that we saw throughout the race, and I said I think you were like probably one of the few that wasn't involved in anything tonight. I don't know if you're able to keep it on the black stuff all night long or not. Did you have any off tracks? Were you able to keep it on track all night long?
0x, baby.
So even with a 3rd place finish, I mean, you still might be one of the highest points finishers then, based on those bonus points for getting the 0 incidents through the race tonight.
Yeah, no. If you told me at the start, I knew my first four or so races were going to be write-offs with having the foot surgery and having to use the hand throttles and stuff. But if you told me it would be Sonoma and I would be a lap down, would be the first podium I'd get this season, I would have laughed at you.
How's your foot doing? How do you feel?
They're great. Yeah, no, I've got no issues with the surgery. They healed up fine. I'm walking fine. Did a couple rounds of golf, so life is back to normal. Well, as normal as we can be in these times.
I hear that.
Yeah, so if you're golfing, all's well in the world, right?
Exactly. I even got my first jab in the arm this afternoon, so things are looking up.
No, congratulations. Yeah, I've had my jabs. Had my however long ago. So everything's passed, and always the worry about the side effects and all. But actually Sonoma is probably the best medicine really for something like that, because I know if you kind of keep the arm still, it gets your arm really sore. So were you feeling it though during the race, kind of making those turns?
No, actually, it's been surprisingly painless. And yeah, they told me the same thing. They were like, "Yeah, move your arm lots," and I was like, "That's not going to be a problem today."
Yeah, so you probably didn't mention the fact that you're going to be doing some racing on the computer and iRacing, but yeah, I mean, just a great job. And honestly, I'm shocked that you mentioned that tonight's your first podium of the season, because But I mean, the thing is, with the way this new point system is, I mean, as long as you're in that top 8 when you come after next week, I believe it was Kentucky. I mean, you pretty much wipe the slate, and then it's going to be the three race shootout pretty much between yourself and 7 other guys.
I'm looking forward to that. No, it's been a tough season, but it's been fun. And I mean, we all knew this track was going to be hard. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the most difficult road course we've done yet. And Atlanta's, it's a technical track, but it's flowing. And this is a hard track to be flowing on. I mean, Gavin and Henry are bloody aliens down in the 115s. It's nuts how fast and smooth those guys are.
Yeah, Steve and I were talking about that too. We watched a lap with Henry during qualifying, then a lap with Gavin during the race, and you're right. I mean, it looked like they're just going for a Sunday afternoon drive, but they're still running like low 116s and just like, 116s. Just like, I don't know how they're doing that kind of stuff and making it look so easy.
Yeah, it's just the speed they can carry through the corners, that they have the confidence carrying the speed that others like me just I don't. You see it watching the replays of stopping it at specific times and just going, man, he's carrying 25 miles an hour more speed through that corner than I am.
Yeah, they definitely showed some pace tonight, but I mean, again, it's kind of a two-edged sword there. We saw, unfortunately, a few of the fast guys tonight say they either got involved in incidents or made a mistake and went off. And I say you did exactly what you need to do. So you had good pace, but you stayed within your limits there and kept it on track all night. So say 0 incident points, you're going to get some bonus points there as well. And then, like I said, able to get your first podium of the evening of the season, I should say, as well. So I mean, just great job tonight, Craig. And glad to hear you're 100% again, and look forward to seeing you the rest of the season here. See what those final 3 races are gonna how they're gonna pan out tonight.
Yeah, I second that, and I would bet this is not going to be the only podium that we see you on for the rest of this season.
That's a commentator's curse I will take.
Excellent. Yeah, I've already been teased about that one at least once tonight.
Well, I think I commentators cursed a couple of guys. I think you're off the hook so far, Steve. So I'll say you were the one that said it. So I think you're in good shape here.
Okay, good.
But no, congrats again, though, Craig. I'll say, like I said, glad everything's starting to kind of turn the right way for you, and look forward to seeing the rest of the season here. And I'll say, enjoy this one, and I'll say, keep that arm moving.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Kyle. You guys stay safe.
Yep, you too.
All right, that is our 3rd place finisher of Craig Forsyth. Now we got to jump over to our 2nd place finisher. Say again, he was kind of the ringer that we thought might be, and it exactly was that number 15 of Gavin Sanders. I mean, he was a beast tonight. There's no other way of putting it, Steve. So we were watching him in practice. We saw the lap times he was putting down, able to get on the pole position and just set sail. I mean, once he was able to get rolling there tonight, just unfortunately, I say it looked like it was a case of one of those situations where you're in a grocery store and you got one person in front of you, you try to let them go, they try to let you go, and it looked like met in the middle, unfortunately, when it was all said and done.
Yeah, it was a solid race up until then. I really enjoy this track, and kind of when you have the clean air and you're able to just do what you want, it's pretty easy. But once we caught traffic, it got a little bit tougher. And then I honestly think it was a bit more of a miscommunication. And then one went one way, one went the other way, and then they swapped again, and then boom, there it is. So bit of a recovery after that, but it was fun. Good race overall.
So yeah. I'm thinking that you've probably done road courses before.
Yeah, I mainly, I would prefer road courses, and they're kind of more my thing. But I enjoy the IndyCar in general. So,
Mel and I took a lap in your driver's seat to watch what you were doing, and you made it look so easy. Unbelievable.
Thank you. No, I really enjoy, especially this track. It's definitely one of the more challenging ones on the IndyCar schedule, but it's just more of a really big driver's track. It's lots of fun. You get to flick the car around. It's just enjoyable.
Now, what Steve and I were mentioning while we were watching the lap, we noticed one thing too is when there was one point where you used the push to pass, kind of going through the S's, which Steve and I were more familiar with the kind of the cup side of things. Let's say the all the fenders on the cars kind of a situation, but This definitely looked like it was a difficult track to really find a good place to use the push to pass, just because you don't have that big long straighto to really use the most out of it. Was that the kind of the best place you found for it, or was it just one of those things where just kind of feel how the car was on the exits and kind of decide, okay, I can get the most out of it based on just how you got out of the turns?
Yeah, it was. I would say it was definitely the S's. The only other corner that I thought would be viable would be out of the carousel, but even then, you come out at a decently good speed, and it's a short run down to the hairpin. So the hairpin out of the hairpin is like first gear all the way down to 6 to the chicane, and you're on the rev limiter by then. So I figured that's probably the best place to get the most out of it if you're going to use it. But I rarely use it anyways. It burns a lot of fuel, so.
And that was actually the next thing I was going to bring up. Is of course that incident, unfortunate where it happened, but it seemed like the timing was about kind of the best you could have for a bad situation there, because you were right on the edge, I think, of the. How close were you on field there? Because I think you went about 15, 16 laps on the run before your final pit stop. Were you having to kind of run it right to the edge to be able to make it on that one stop?
Yeah, I ended up having to save for kind of drift into map 8 for one lap on the last run just to make sure I actually finished. But it was pretty lucky to have an incident there. I ended up, I think it was one lap off, so I only had to save a few gallons, or sorry, like a half a gallon to a gallon to make it to the end, which was very lucky in the end. But yeah, definitely a convenient time to have a spill up like that.
Yeah, so never a good time to really have it, but yeah, like I said, to kind of make the best of a bad situation. You definitely did that. We just watching you just blow through the field there. Like I said, it was really impressive to watch, and it was a really good recovery drive by you. So I guess the obvious question for here is, will we be seeing you the rest of the season here, starting next week at Kentucky?
Maybe. I'm normally racing VOR, but I'm thinking about trying this league out, just seeing how it goes, get some extra reps in. So potentially, maybe not Kentucky, but maybe Dover.
Yeah, so that definitely will be a difficult one. So I think that's one of the first ones in the playoffs. But again, an awesome job tonight, Gavin. Like I said, it started from the pole. So unfortunately, had the incident to take you out of the lead, but just awesome recovery drive. That being said, though, we got to give you the floor here. As I say, definitely see plenty of sponsors on that car. So it looks like you might have some people to thank for that run tonight.
Yeah, big thank you first off to VOR. My personal sponsors: Braden Motorsport, Alpine Stars, Stilo, and Fat Bastard Burrito. But yeah, it was a solid night, and difficult drive, I'd say. Just gonna survive out there for me and Julian. So
yeah, so we were actually curious. I saw the paints, but yeah, I think they're probably teammates based on the matching schemes there. So I say you're gonna have me doing some Googling here, because I want to check out this burrito company. So just the name sounds enticing to me, so I'm gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's one of the best burritos in Canada.
All right, Steve, we're gonna have to do some traveling once things get less lockdowns.
Okay, swing by and pick me up on the way.
I say, yeah, you're close actually. I'll come get you on the way out there. Yeah, no, great job. Then go again though, Gavin, and say grab that second place position. Really good recovery drive. Yeah, hope to definitely see some more of you in the future races. And but yeah, congrats again on that great run tonight.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Hopefully see you soon.
Yep, great job, Gavin.
All right, so last up is going to be our race winner of that 007 of Henry Bennett. And so I think this is going to be one of those kind of the mixed emotion type races for Henry here tonight, Steve. We know Henry. We know how competitive he is and how good of a racer he is. But I have a feeling he's not going to be not the most happy, of course, with that incident or contact, you should say, between himself and Chad Wilkes. But still, a great job by him tonight to be able to still bring it home and grab that win this evening. So go ahead and pull Henry on in here, and we'll pull up our race winner. Henry Bennett qualified in second, gets the win here this evening, though. That was, let's say, obviously starting off with the standing start there. I think probably caught a couple guys by surprise. how ready were you to make those kind of the adjustments in car to instead of having to roll kind of the rolling start to be able to just kind of have to drop it and go to try to keep as good of a starting position as you could there?
I wasn't ready for that at all. Yeah, I haven't done a standing start on iRacing maybe for 4 years, so I completely forgot what technique was best to use back then, and I'm sure it's different now anyway. So yeah, I just took it easy, and I got a bit of wheel spin, and yeah, had a bunch of people overtook me. So yeah, that wasn't the best start, but yeah, the same for everyone. I should, yeah, maybe I should practice those just in case in future.
Do you think that was that a throttle, too much throttle issue, or the wrong gear, or both?
Right gear. Surprisingly, yeah, I was feathering the clutch and feathering the throttle, but still got wheel spin. So I don't know. Maybe not enough clutch made the revs rise too much, and then when I released the clutch slightly, it's just too high RPM for the tires.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to judge in virtual cars as opposed to a real car where you get that seat of the pants feel as you're letting out the clutch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess I could have just approached it like a pulling away from the pit box. So do that loads, but the extra pressure of the green light coming on, and you forget all of that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong about that. Say you kind of go into, okay, let's go around the pace lap, probably save a little bit of fuel, make sure everything's ready to go, and then you say you see obviously it sounds like the admins let you guys know that it was set to standing start by mistake, but then be like, okay, now you got, like I said, you got to wait for the lights and then try to make sure you don't jump it and things like that. Definitely, like I said, definitely adds a lot of pressure, but. I mean, you did a good job. Obviously, able to work your way back up into contention there. You say we saw some of the fast guys have some incidents going off tracks and things of that nature. And I was saying, obviously, you do have to mention. I mean, you and Chad Wilkes. I mean, you guys had a really good battle going. And it just seemed like we saw you a few times on the push to pass button. Just weren't quite able to get where you needed to go to complete the pass on them. And so we were talking to Gavin about that earlier with this track not really having a long straightaway. Was that what was really hurting you the most, to be able to try to make that move where you just didn't have like enough to really take advantage fully of the push to pass tonight?
yeah, like you say, it's the nature of the track. It was really tough to pass. You got to have a massive run out of the preceding corner because the straights are so short, and the corners are very tight. So you've got to be very precise if you're trying an outbraking maneuver. I got a good run a few times, but I didn't want to completely send it in and go wide and maybe cause contact at apex. So yeah, I was biding my time, backing up the braking a bit so I didn't run into him, because there's no point taking us both out. But yeah, but because of the incident between us, I got kind of mixed feelings about the win tonight. Yeah, never like to have an incident with a fellow competitor that you're racing hard against. But yeah, just before that, coming out of the chicane, I got a really good run. So used push to pass, got up the inside into the hairpin. Yeah, overshot that slightly, and he cut back, undercut, and got a good run on the front straight. But yeah, side by side, and yeah, all going fine. And yeah, contact turning up the hill. Yeah, looked at it again, and just looks like we both wanted the same piece of tarmac. I can't really apportion blame either way. Just really unfortunate that he came off worse out of it. Yeah, I just hope he's okay with it. Yeah, I'd probably be slightly frustrated with it myself. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. But yeah, like you're saying, there's, especially this layout, there's not many great passing opportunities. I think if we had the long layout with without the chicane at the end of the lap, and then the full hairpin before after pit entry, then I think passing opportunities might be slightly better because you could get a massive run through the S's. But apart from that, I don't think there's many good passing opportunities.
No, and that was definitely. I mean, you guys were having a great battle. It's just through there, it's very tough to go side by side. So, it's just a slight difference in the angle that you took into that sweeping left-hander versus the one he took. And and my opinion was the same as yours. It was a racing deal, and it still sucks for both of you guys because I know neither one of you wanted that to happen, and it's too bad that Chad got such a bad tumble out of it.
I mean, I knew it turning up there. I'd have to make allowance for him on my outside because the car wants to kind of understeer as you're turning up there. Even by yourself, it wants to understeer when you're on full throttle. So I was lifting and putting lots of steering lock in to make sure I didn't understeer into him. And yeah, just unfortunately, he wanted to get more of a preferred line into turn one, and yeah, we just met. Yeah, it's just like you say, really unfortunate. So, and yeah, mixed feelings as well because Gavin obviously would have dominated this race. He had like a 15-second lead at that point, but then just had an issue with a unfortunate, unlucky issue with a back marker. So yeah, again that gives me mixed feelings about winning this when he would have won it easily.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a tough situation to be in. I'd say, and I mean, obviously, it's not what you were hoping to have happen. It's just it's part of racing, unfortunately. And say that's why we're out there is for the competition. And I'll say there are times, of course, when you're going to have contact with your fellow drivers, and so I'd say it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I'd say it's part of racing, though, of course. The other thing I have to mention is we didn't watch it from your onboard, but we were watching it from the TV view. I mean, the 17 car, I mean, he cleared over the tire barriers, and it looked like he literally about just like flew over your car. Was that anything? Were you able to see that from where you were on your point of view? Just seeing that 17 car heading right towards you, were you concerned that he was going to find a way to, like, just bounce at the wrong time into your car as well?
Yeah, I saw all of that. Yeah, it's I don't know words to describe it really. It was surprising to see that little tap cause that much of an incident for Chad. But yeah, that was definitely a bit of a scary moment. But yeah, I was more concerned for how his car would be. I mean, I could see him like barreling across the dirt towards the track, and so I could slow down in time and avoid him. But yeah, I was just worried what his car would be like at the end of it.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely a wild one. Like I said, like you said, that little bit of contact. I mean, just sent him along for ice. And I mean, that's a really fast left-hander there, of course, and sending so much speed in before you go up the hill and get to the brakes for the right-hander there, of course, too. But again, I mean, and we were joking at one point, it's like, okay, yeah, Henry's just going to kind of go and take it easy and just kind of keep the car clean to the end. And then saying, I think at one point you ran like I think it was that 1:16.1, which was like 100th off of what Gavin had at that point in the race. So I think it was literally like a lap or two later where you put that number down. So Steve and I were kind of having a laugh about that as well. It's like, okay, well maybe he's not just completely riding after all. So was that just a really good lap where you're kind of in the zone, or were you trying to see maybe what kind of pace you still had, kind of if you needed it there?
Yeah. I mean, you never know when you might make a mistake, or have an issue with another car. So you always really kind of want to build as much gap as you can, because Gavin had his issue, and the same could easily happen to me. So the bigger gap I have, the more time I have to recover from any issue. So you always kind of want to push, and at the same time you don't want to relax too much, because then your driving becomes. I think the safest way to go around the track is kind of pushing like at 95% maybe. But if you drop below that, then it's a lot easier to make mistakes, really. But I did have the fastest lap of the race in the back of my mind, and I could see what Gavin's was. I was trying to beat that, but yeah, I saw after the race that he must have saved his best pace for one of the last few laps, because he completely obliterated that by like 4/10 or something.
Yeah, you definitely put down a screamer at the end of the race there. But like I said, kind of a bittersweet win, obviously, Henry. But say we've seen you win plenty of these races without anything like that as well. So I'm sure these drivers, again, they've all raced with you all season long. They know what to expect from you. And I mean, we all make mistakes. So again, so I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I'm sure you and Chad will have a chat at some point in the future before you guys have a chance to race with one another again as well. So So yes, I mean, despite everything that went on, I mean, still enjoy the win. It was definitely a hard fought one. It was definitely a wild race tonight at Sonoma, a tough track for everybody to kind of wrap their arms around as well. So you did a really good job this evening. So yeah, so don't hang your head too much on it. Say enjoy the win though for sure, and definitely want to give the floor though any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for the win this evening.
Thanks to the league, as always, put on a great league, and yeah, really enjoy it, and yeah, happy to be part of it, and yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Yeah, and thanks to my team, Power Slide Motorsports.
I say only got one more to go until the playoffs kick off, so I know that's going to be in the back of your mind as well. I think at this point you're in a really good spot, obviously, to feel pretty much locked into that top 8 as well. So yeah, say enjoy this one. I know you'll have plenty to focus on these coming weeks as well. So yeah, just take care of take care of things. Enjoy yourself for right now, and then say refocus once it's time to go after that title this season.
Thanks, Gal. Looking forward to it.
All right, Steve, that is our race winner in the 007 of Henry Bennett. We got to go over our final points results, though, for the night. So race winner Henry Bennett there by 33 seconds over Gavin Sanders. Again, just kind of a wild attrition-filled one tonight with everything that was going on. Craig Forsyth brings it home third, kept it clean all night long. I think Craig probably kind of didn't have it turned up to 11. He just kind of ran at a safe pace. Like I said, 0 incident points, able to get a great result doing that. Julian Altina recovers to finish in 4th. Andrzar, who's from his early issues, he gets up back into that top 5. Eric Shouse in 6th. David Payton in 7th. Quabi Brooks recovered from his earlier, actually 2 incidents, now that I think about it, to grab 8th. Michael Spell in 9th, and Ivan Pla brings home a top 10. And then 11 through 19, some of these drivers, unfortunately, did not have the nights they were looking for. Blake said Gary Corley, he stuck it out. He brings it home in 11th. And then these drivers, unfortunately, not able to get the results they were hoping for, getting caught up in some incidents and having to retire, including Jim Brooks, Matt Wagner, Chad Wilkes, Robbie Richards, Dwight Plesh. Saying a few of these drivers did not take the grid either, which I think include Dwight Plesh, Joseph DeCiro, Benjamin Combs, and Jimmy Drynan. One name we did not see on that list, though, there, Steve, was our points leader for a good chunk of the season, Charles Teed. I think he did, from what I understood, he made it out here, did some wine tasting, decided he is just going to keep tasting wine. He's going to, I think, use this kind of as his drop week, and kind of, again, I think just feeling confident enough in what he was able to do in that first half of the season, where he's going to kind of enjoy himself out west before we kind of get into that final stretch where we make that run for the title here this season.
Are you sure it was wine, though, Gael? Because you know what today is, right?
That's true. So, we'll have to quiz him. Hopefully, we get a chance to interview with him as well. So, saying it is legal in California, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to have a chat with that fellow to see what was going on with him tonight.
Definitely.
But no, in all seriousness, as always, though, Steve, always a pleasure to have you here with me. It was definitely a wild one tonight at Sonoma. This track definitely a bit early, bit often. Didn't matter who you were, where you were on track. It seems like it caught just about everybody tonight. But yeah, man, I think the next thing for us though is going to be we got to figure out when we can get up to Canada and check out that burrito joint, because that sounds pretty intriguing to me.
I'm not much of a Mexican food type person, but Canada sure sounds like fun, so I'm certainly willing to go tag along.
All right, well, we'll get you some poutine or something like that, and I'll have the burrito then.
Okay, I'm sure I can find some other good, uniquely Canadian things while we're up there.
Sounds like a plan. So, so for us, of course, as always, Steve, as always, a pleasure to be up here with you. Looking forward to next week, and then, of course, our championship 3 races that we're going to be going through. Of course, as always, I even mentioned the Craig during the interview. He was able to get his first shot. I've been able to get both of mine as well. So, hopefully everybody that's eligible, you guys are able to start getting yours as well. Hopefully start getting to some normalcy back in our lives again as well. So, but of course, as always, if available, still, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until next time, have a good night, everybody.
Happy 420.